Hari Om. Start with the prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinabadhitamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So we are looking at the Nitya Naimitya karmas, which are obligatory duties, and according to our scriptures there are Pancha Mahayajnas that has to be done by everyone, and we classified that one is Deva Yajna, the other one is the Pitru Yajna, and the third is Rishi Yajna, and the fourth is Manushya Yajna, and the fifth is the Bhuta Yajna. So we have exhaustively analyzed that. An interesting thing is about the Deva Yajna, thinking the Lord is the one who is really making me to do anything else. I cannot but do anything. There is a story, in fact, in the Kenopanishad, in the last section, it says there is a big war of which the gods and the demons won, and the gods, after winning, they are celebrating. So in the celebration, they are having a big party, and everybody is boasting, oh, I did this and I did that, and each god is trying to claim that he has done a great thing. And suddenly a big lighting came in front of so suddenly they saw big lighting. It's called, there is a yaksha, and the gods will say, what is this? Then the Indra disputes, says one after the other, the gods to find out what that is. So first Varuna comes. So Varuna is god of rain, and says, who are you? And the Yashas, who are you? Says, I am the great Varuna, I can do this, and he starts boasting himself how great the Varuna is. Oh, you are that great? Let me see if you can wet this blade of grass. So he puts a dry blade of grass there and asks him to wet. So he could not do it. Say, my God, this one is more powerful than me. He goes back and reports that I could not find it, he is more powerful. So then Agni comes, same story, Agni boasts himself, he can burn anything. So is that so? Burn this blade of grass. And he could not burn it. So he also goes back. And ultimately Vayu comes, says, I am the great Vayu, I can, the strongest one in this. Says, okay, lift this grass of blade. And he could not do it. So he also goes back. He says, this is something superior, we cannot do anything about it. So at last Indra himself goes there to inquire, and when he goes there, suddenly it disappears. In its place, you see Uma, Parvati there. So Indra recognizes Parvati, Amma, what was there before? And one says, this is what actually the whole universe is because of that, and all your guys are boasting yourself, and it is because of which you are able to do anything. Without that you can't do anything at all. So essentially Uma stands for scriptures directing what is the essence of the reality is, and that is essentially what is picturized in a story form. It says that is the Daivam, that because of which I am able to do anything at all. Even I can deny the presence of the God also because of his grace only. That is the Daiva. When I recognize it, it becomes a Deva Yajna. So recognition and therefore humility follows, because I am not anything unless I am something, if at all. So what I have is because of that only. That recognition makes me humble and make my ego dissolve in the process. That's what is Deva Yajna. So we discussed Pitru Yajna and Rishi Yajna also, where Rishi Yajna stands for daily study of the scriptures and pass on that knowledge to the next generation. That becomes our obligation, and that's what we have to do according to scripture itself. And the third one, and the fourth one is Manushya Yajna. Manushya became Yajna because I am living in a society and I depend on so many people and so many factors for my existence. For a milk, I have to depend on the milkman. For some groceries, I go, food is already available in the stores, but who grew it? There is so many things behind it. All that has to be recognized. So Manushya Yajna is paying back to the society in one form or the other, because I am taking from the society, so I have to give it back to the society. There are so many people who are less fortunate than I am, so it is my duty to give a helping hand so that they can also enjoy the lives, and they can also devote their mind not on the basic necessities of the life and divert their mind to the higher and to see the reality. So that is Manava Sevaye Madhava Seva. So serving the humanity becomes the serving of the Lord also. So this becomes important as a part of, because I am a human being, depend upon the society also. And this is the Manushya Yajna. So actually there is a beautiful story in the Bible. It says, when you are helping the lowest of the lowest, you are helping me. When you are be kind to the more deprived people, you are really kind to me. God says that's how you are able to serve the God also. So whenever, wherever, even though people are suffering due to prarabdha, but it becomes my purushartha to help the needy and the help these people in whatever way. It says, therefore, even to prayer itself, doing, if I can't do anything, at least let everybody be happy. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, kale varshatu parjanyaha, let it rain in time. All these prayers at least I can do so that the society can be happy. That is part of the Manushya Yajna. And the last one, the fifth one, is a Bhuta Yajna, where I not only human beings, but even all life forms, Sarva Bhuteshu Hiteshu. So one has to be kind to all beings. I don't just go and kill animal for my sport. And I have to be kind because I cannot create a life, therefore I cannot destroy life also. And therefore this has to be understood. So I am not the only living being in this spaceship earth traveling together. There are so many beings along with me, not only the humans, but all life forms are all there. And I have to recognize that I am one in many. And with the very recognition, my attitude itself should change. I become not only the Bhagavat Seva, it will be Bhagavata Seva also, serving the devotees of the Lord also. And everyone is one way or the other a devotee, whether they recognize the Lord or not. So if I understand all this, I prepare my mind with that attitude. So this daily obligatory duties is involved the Deva Yajna, the Pitru Yajna, and Rishi Yajna, Manushya Yajna, and Bhuta Yajna. If we do that, we develop an attitude in the mind where I am one in many and I have to serve because I am getting the help from everybody else, from the Lord all the way to the down. So that, in fact, the Bhuta Yajna means how many, we don't know how many bacteria are there in our mind, and a lot of healthy bacteria, helpful bacteria also help me in digesting the food also. That recognition is important, and that is what is called Yajna. So, Diksha Naimittika Karma involves, therefore, these are obligatory duties for me as long as I have a feeling that I am a doer. Therefore, do this with these attitudes, and that's what is essentially Niyatam Kuru. The Krishna says to Arjuna, you do your obligatory duties, whatever your obligation, depending upon the society here. Now we go into another aspect of it. So Krishna says, Swadharme Nidhanam Sreyaha Paradharmo Bhayavaha. You have to do your Swadharma. So in this Karma Yoga, we have to understand all these aspects clearly. Then our life becomes a beautiful. Even while living in this world also, we can beautify our life also if we follow these rules and regulations as prescribed. Because the Vedic vision is the whole, that's why Hinduism is called way of life itself. Whether it's a dance, music, everything is tuned towards a higher, and therefore with that attitude I am performing the everything. We start with a prayer and end the day with a prayer, and in between remember the prayer also. In action also we will be remembering the Lord. I remember my mother used to do all her activities at the same time, keep on chanting Vishnu Sahasranama or this Nama, this Sotram. So the mind is thinking something else rather than unnecessary things that are dissipating the energy. So all these are ingrained in the very living itself, in the way in which you methodically you program yourself so that this Purushartha is accomplished, Dharma, Artha, Kama, with an attitude towards the moksha, where Ishvara, the Karma Yoga, becomes a vehicle to purify the mind. Now we go into the additional details of the Karma Yoga. In the Karma Yoga, it says Swadharme Nidhanam Sreyaha. So Swadharma is you perform your dharma. So here the teaching is from Krishna to Arjuna. So Arjuna is a warrior and his dharma is to fight injustice, and that's how he has been brought up as a Kshatriya. Therefore, for him to go to Himalayas and I want to contemplate because I am not ready to face the situation here, even though he is fighting a dharmic war and where he has to establish as though he has been by taxpayers' money to support and to protect the nation, and now suddenly when the war comes and somebody is trying to occupy it, so now I am conscientious of the observer, you cannot do that. Therefore, you had to do your obligated duty as your dharma, that is swadharma, than doing the paradharma where you go to the Himalayas and do meditation. Now, you can do that later. See, Krishna's teaching to Arjuna is different from Krishna's teaching to Uddhava. So there is a Uddhava Gita in the Bhagavatam where Uddhava wants to, before Krishna is departing, and he goes to approach the Krishna and ask his knowledge. And there Krishna advises Uddhava to go to Himalayas. You have done enough of this. Go to Himalayas, contemplate on it, and he teaches what need to be contemplated. For Arjuna, he says you have to fight here. Because that is his methodology. He has to do Karma Yoga is prescribed for the Arjuna, whereas Jnana Yoga is prescribed for Uddhava. Because the Adhikari means the student who is qualified student is a seeker. The qualification of the student is different. So depending upon the qualification of the student, we have the yogas prescribed. Now we'll go into a little more details about the Swadharma. What is Swadharma? Swadharma is interpreted in so many ways. And people interpret it, says, he is a Kshatriya, he is a Brahmana, he is a Vaishya and Shutra, therefore it is a Varnashrama Dharma. I'm not going to go into those details, but I will tell you in a different way, which I appreciate. So, what is that? Because we are in the Prakriti. Remember, Mayantu Prakritim Vidyat. Maya is Prakriti, and Prakriti is Trigunatmikam. It has three gunas: Sattva guna, Rajo guna, and Tamo guna. So, Sattva guna, Rajo guna. The Sattva guna is the one that is predominant. If the Sattva guna is predominant, and that mind is more contemplative and wants to learn. So knowledge and contemplation and mind wants to do that rather than anything else. So Sattva Guna is more conducive for Jnana Yoga. Then there is a Rajo Guna. Rajo Guna is activity involved. Rajas is in representation of the activity, and that mind is a restless mind. It cannot sit in one place and contemplate. Hey, I want to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this. He cannot sit one place and contemplate on it. It says for him it's a waste of time. He becomes restless. And for him, it's better to go into the field of action and perform the action, but now with an attitude where you act as a karma yogin. So Rajoguna, one where you have predominant Rajoguna, the activities are important, but term the activities as a part where Rajoguna goes down and Sattva Guna comes up. So evolution involves lowest one is tamoguna, then rajoguna and sattva-guna. One who has tamoguna has to raise up to rajoguna, and one who has rajoguna has to raise up to the sattvika guna. So the one who has predominant sattva guna, or the intellectuals, or the people who want to know, who want to learn, who wants to know what is the cause, and so on and so forth, and they are the wise. And Krishna is a universal teacher. So his teaching is universal. So this classification is across the board, irrespective of where you are, at what time. Therefore, this is an essential qualification of the mind status, mind and intellect together. What is the nature of the mind? Is it a sattvic mind? Is it a rajasic mind? Or is it a tamasic mind? And depending upon that, sadhana has to be prescribed. Because a rajoguna, one who is restless, you cannot ask him to attend the Vedanta classes. He will become so restless, and he makes others also restless. For him, he has to prepare himself into sattva guna. That's why manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatasiddhaye. So thousands of people, only few are interested, because for this knowledge for people to get interested, one has to be sattvic also. And karma yoga prepares one to become sattvic. So swadharme nidhanam sreyaha, by doing your dharma of your own nature, you grow out of that to become more and more sattvic, where your mind becomes more contemplative. And all these yajnas and all that prescribed, so that there is a ekagrata, mano ekagrata, a concentration of the mind is required for any study. And mano vishalata, expansion of the mind, is required for spiritual growth, where I include everybody as part of me, and I am not as selfish, I just want to help everybody. That becomes a vishalata. Expansion of the mind is a part of, because ultimately I expand enough to include everybody as me only. So all that is prescribed. So in the Swadharma, we have the classifications, those who are the predominant sattvic guna, and there are those who are predominant rajasic and having a next sattvic, that's the one type. And those who are rajasic but having a tamasic as a second, and that's the third type. And they are purely sattvic with a less rajasic and sattvic, or the fourth type. These are essentially what guna karma vibhaga, these are the four types of, across the board, as a gross classification that Krishna says it is being prescribed based on what? Guna and karma. And guna is sattva guna, rajoguna and tamoguna. And based on that, it is what your mind is. This classification is not meant for evaluating somebody else. It is only meant for evaluating yourself, because what position I am, so that you can tune your spiritual growth appropriately. If I am a tamasic person, a lazy person, a procrastinating, first you have to get up first. Do some exercise at least. So this is the one who is essentially not able to do, at least let him be active. Therefore rajasic procedure is prescribed for him. Hatha yoga, all those processes are important for him to become active. Once he become active, then action has to be converted into yoga by using a karma yoga, and slowly the purity of the mind comes when you go to sattvic. In the 18th chapter of Gita, Krishna elaborately discussed what is a sattvic guna, what is rajasic guna, what is tamasic guna, in terms of activities, including even how to do dhanam, how to do offering, how to do prayer. Everything has been prescribed. Says, you see what is your attitude in your doing it, and where exactly you fit in. It's evaluation. So therefore, by doing it and knowing where you are, from that position you have to grow, not from the position where other people are, because that doesn't help you. Therefore, swadharme nidhanam sreyaha, doing your swadharma will help. Also, we'll go into more detail. Swadharma also depends upon what role you are taking. If I consider myself I am an employee, then it is my swadharma to do my job there. If I consider myself I am a father, then it is my swadharma to do whatever the father has to do, which is appropriate for the benefit of the children. If I consider myself as an husband, then I had to do what a husband has to do. So Swadharma also depending upon what role I am playing. Therefore it says guna and karma. Karma means whatever role I am playing or whatever place that I am a businessman, then I had to do properly that one. So whatever activity that I am engaged in for my survival, as long as it is dharmic activity, but you have to do it properly with the correct attitude, and that is what essentially what Swadharme Nidhanam Seya Paradharmo Bhayavaha. In Bhagavan Ramanuja, he interprets differently. Just for the information, he calls Swadharma is a karma yoga and Paradharma is a jnana yoga. I don't know why. Therefore, Swadharmi Nidhanam Seya means performing the karma yoga is the best rather than going after jnana yoga. For him, the bhakti and saranagati is a means for the evolution and means for the moksha. For us, for jnana, where I need to know who that I am is and the world is, therefore jnana is the highest world. So we have to understand other people's, when we are talking about or reading other scriptures or other interpretations, we have to be aware of the interpretations also. So with that, we'll stop here and then we'll do the prayer and then we'll continue. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.